moves with precision.
Yes.
Shabbat Shalom. It is a joy to welcome congregants and friends and guests as we join together to celebrate Shabbat on a Shabbat where it looks like a whole bunch of us are away at the shore this weekend. And so I'm glad some of us are left to enjoy the one nice day of July in Philadelphia. Welcome to our Bima, to our cantorial soloist, Rebecca Robinson. So good to be with you. Welcome back. And while Cantor Haim is on vacation, and welcome to our Bima, Jerry Arnold, who represents our board of advisors and our leadership and our congregation. Let's please be sure to be among community. Please take this moment to turn around and find someone new to greet. We welcome Susan Baer to kindle our Shabbat lights as we turn in our prayer books to page 2.
אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat.
And we turn to page 5 for our Shabbat Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah le'mikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Chaim. Shabbat Shalom. Did anyone watch any of the Olympics opening ceremonies today? Yes? I caught a glimpse of that opening ceremony scene of the boats going down the Seine River, and I heard that was going to be the plan for the opening ceremony, and I'll admit, cynically, I wondered whether it would feel a little false with, for me, the world feeling so divided right now, and as I watched for a few minutes, I was moved. I was touched. It worked. It was uplifting for me. I hope that this Shabbat, too, brings something of uplift, something of hope into our worldviews, into our lives. So let us take a deep breath and release, turning from the noise, the divisions of the week to the peace, to the joy, the wholeness, and the song of Shabbat. We turn in our prayer books to page 13, to the singing of Kabbalat Shabbat on page 13, fourth line up from the bottom.
Kol
That song was a new one for me, maybe for you too. And those words from Psalm 96 really just focus on bringing in God's presence, on God entering. And so now with our singing of Lachado D, we call in God's presence once again. We call in the presence of Shabbat with joy, pages 20 and 21.
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
If you're comfortable, there's a tradition to rise to welcome Shabbat.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Turning to page 28, we continue with our call to worship. Page 31, together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 33. Together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Ba'ed. Page 36. Please be seated. Page 39, together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40.
Te
Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Page 42.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu lechaim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Hamidenu Malkeinu lechaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha V'tagnenu Be'etza tova milfanecha V'hoshienu Leman shemecha Ashkivenu Adonai Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha V'tagnenu Be'etza tova milfanecha V'hoshienu Leman shemecha Ashkivenu Adonai Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha V'tagnenu Be'etza tova milfanecha V'hoshienu Leman shemecha Ashkivenu Adonai Ashkivenu Adonai Ashkivenu
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. Page 46 and following. Please rise for the Amidah.
Oh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. In a moment, we will be on page 259 at the middle of the page for a prayer for Israel. Following Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's address to Congress this week, the Reform Movement circulated a petition, which I just signed, which, out of love for Israel, calls on Prime Minister Netanyahu to heed the voices of the hostages' family members who believe that a new negotiated ceasefire conditional on hostage release is the most effective way for those still held to be freed. Whereas months ago, the earliest calls for ceasefire lacked nuance and lacked a commitment to Israel's security, there are now more serious leadership voices that demonstrate a commitment to both Israelis and Palestinians. As far-reaching as hope may feel, hope for hostages' release, hope for an end to the war, hope for a two-state solution, Jewish history teaches us that what seems impossible just might be possible. On the bottom of page 259, together. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. We take these moments for silent prayer.
kadosh v'teva.
In a moment, we'll be on the middle of page 253 for the Mishaberach, our blessing for healing. A story for tumultuous times. There's a righteous person who has a chat with God and requests that when she dies, she should be sent to hell. Why, asks God, would you not want to be sent to heaven? Well, in heaven you'll have gathered righteous people and everything will be going so well, so peaceful. But the thing is, I like to help people. I like to find difficult situations where I can help, and I don't think they'll need my help in heaven, but in hell. So, maybe that's a positive spin on this challenging world and on any times of brokenness in our lives. There are lots of sacred actions, lots of mitzvot for us to do. May the Mishaberach, this blessing for healing, be our way to call not only to God for help, but may it be our way to call out to each other as well. If you have a loved one in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit, please add that name to the comments or speak it aloud now.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Our thoughts now move from thoughts of brokenness and healing to thoughts of joy, celebration, and gratitude as we prepare to sing the Shehechianu, our blessing of gratitude, thanking God for giving us life, for sustaining us and enabling us to reach this moment in time. And I hope for all of us there's at least one special thing that we can be grateful for this week. And if there's something really big, a big simcha, a life moment that you want to share with the congregation, we would love to hear from you. So what do we got? Anything good? Chloe. That's amazing. You stood up, you did something brave that was really hard to say, and it wasn't easy, but you did it. Really proud of you. Way to be. What else? Anyone else celebrating any big things? Yeah. Marilyn. We had a wonderful time doing some work with some of my connections, the United Arab Emirates, and Marilyn had us over, and I had a last-minute sitter cancellation, and you welcomed my daughter Nora so wonderfully, and she's going to be doing craniofacial medicine in the United Arab Emirates before we know it. Yeah, is it David? Yes, yes. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit institution that does not endorse any candidates. However, many people felt some relief this week over some political announcements. Yes. Matthew. All right, so just hold that thought, Matthew, and we're going to welcome you up here in a minute to offer you a really special blessing as you affirmed your Judaism this week. And how special. Yeah. Mazel tov. Mazel tov on your grandson's bar mitzvah. Amazing, amazing. What else? Anyone else? All right, well, we had a preview, so now I'm honored to welcome Matthew Small to come join us at the Bima and invite you all to please rise. Matthew is definitely not a stranger to anyone here, as I think for the past year you've been here almost every single week for Shabbat and has really become a part of our Shabbat community. And this week we had a chance, come on all the way up, we had a chance to have a Beit Din and a mikvah and officially affirm your Judaism. And we spoke about, your grandfather who was such an important Jewish influence in your life. And although you weren't raised fully in the faith, you decided to really claim that part of your identity and how important, especially at this time, and how wonderful to have your mom here with us, along with so many friends and community members that you've met here at the congregation. Matthew, you stand before the open ark and before the commanding presence of the Torah, the Jewish people's most cherished treasure. It's led us on the way and guided us ever since we received it at Sinai. It's been carried during our times of greatest rejoicing. As I place the Torah into your arms, take it into your heart, and I pray that it will sustain you as it has done our Jewish people in life since our beginnings. I'll also add how special it is to be up at the Ark, because you spoke in your Beit Din, Matthew, about how special seeing that ark, seeing those Torah scrolls every Shabbat, and what that brings to you, that sense of peace, that sense of connection to the past as well. You are known by the name Matthew, which means you're always linked in love to those who gave you life. And from this time forth, you shall be known within the Jewish community as Matisyahu, which is the Hebrew of Matthew. It also means a gift from God, and you truly are a gift from God. Matityahu ben Elliot, which was your grandfather's name, recognizing that connection. May this name bring respect and honor to the Jewish people. We rejoice to welcome you into our midst. And as we've done throughout the ages, I ask God's blessing upon you now. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence be with you always and grant you peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Let us all say, Amen. Amen. And Mazel Tov. For this blessing and all the blessings in our community, we join together in gratitude in the words of Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen. Please be seated. Some of you might know I'm into beer. And I was very blessed a number of years ago. I got to contribute an article to a publication that was done in Germany on the 500th anniversary of the Reinheitsgebot. If you don't know what those are the, you know, Jerry, right? Yeah. They're the German beer purity laws that say beer can only be made with barley, yeast. Well, they didn't really know what yeast was, but now yeast, water, and hops. And otherwise it can't be called beer. It's probably the only purity laws we can maybe get behind in Germany. Too soon, I don't know. Okay. So I had a chance to deeply delve into all the text around beer that are in the Talmud. And I might brag and say I think I might be the foremost leading expert on rabbinic attitudes towards beer as seen in the Babylonian Talmud. I may be the only expert on rabbinic attitudes towards beer as seen in the Babylonian Talmud. But the rabbis talk a lot about wine in the Talmud, and there's a whole section in the Talmud called Avodah Zarah, meaning strange worship, which is the reason why we actually traditionally, where kosher wine comes from. Some people don't know this, a little aside, but I'll get there, that what makes wine kosher has nothing to do with what makes other food kosher. What makes wine kosher is that it actually has only been handled and produced by Jews, because there was a fear a long time ago that if a pagan, maybe someone who worships Dionysus or Bacchus, were to make your wine, they might have sanctified that wine to their Greek, their Roman god, and that if you drank that wine, you would be taking part in Avodah Zarah, in idol worship. But interestingly, in this same text of Avodah Zarah, the rabbis then begin to talk about beer. And they ask this question: why has the beer of non-Jews been forbidden? Because beer does not have that same connotation of being used in a ritual thing. And so they answer. Rabbi Chami said in the name of Rav Yitzchak, because of marriages. Rav Papa, it continues, one of the best names of a rabbi, Rav Papa used to drink beer when it was brought out to the door of his shop. And Rav Ahai used to drink it when it was brought to his house. Both of them held that the reason for the prohibition is interfaith marriage. So what's going on here? The rabbis are already recognizing from quite a long time ago that if you were to go to the local pub where there might be some non-Jews and you have a few drinks, leads to mixed dancing. It's an old joke. I'll explain it another time. Kind of problematic in our mind today. Similarly, in this week's Torah portion, we have another, I would say, earlier and also quite problematic polemic against interfaith marriage. Pinchas, the grandson of Aaron, the next in line to be high priest, in a fit of zealotry, finds an Israelite man cohabitating with a Midianite woman, and in quite a horrific scene, extrajudiciously kills them both. Now, unfortunately, in our text, it seems to some degree that Pinchas is actually praised for this. And join us at Torah study tomorrow. We're going to get a little more into it. Now, I'll add that although this text may not really be fully about interfaith marriage and might have also been a polemic against certain types of idol worship and sort of cult prostitution, it's hard, especially if we come from an interfaith family or we're in interfaith relationships ourselves, to not see this as a pretty disturbing, a pretty ugly, a really difficult text. Many of us throughout our lives, perhaps, have been brought up with the idea that interfaith marriage is going to be the end of Judaism. And I want to tell you, not only is this statement hurtful, it's wrong. In 1990, American Jews decided they had no future. This was the year that the National Jewish Population Survey came out, and it said that 52% of America's Jews were in interfaith marriages. Now, the report itself was actually quite even-keeled in its analysis, but the reaction of many Jews veered towards panic. Interfaith couples weren't raising their children Jewish, according to the survey, and so it was assumed that their grandchildren wouldn't be Jewish either, and it was only a matter of time before American Jews disappeared. A second Holocaust is how one Orthodox rabbi described what was happening. Others said we are probably witnessing the last generation of Jewish life in America. And the Harvard Law School professor Alan Dershowitz, I don't always listen to him, said that Jews were in danger of disappearing. Interfaith marriage, he wrote, was a threat to the survival of our people. But guess what? It hasn't turned out that way at all. They were all wrong. Recent surveys from the Pew Research study show that there are now 7.6 million Americans who identify as Jewish, a 35% increase since 1990. Now, immigration from Jews from the former Soviet Union and elsewhere accounts for some of that increase, but the main reason is interfaith marriage. Interfaith marriage has grown our people. According to the Pew study, the most recent, about 2/3 of interfaith married couples raise their children Jewish. I believe that interfaith marriage was never a problem. I actually think the problem has often been apathy. I like to call it the Brandeis problem. I, along with Rabbi Mader and a few others in this congregation, went to Brandeis University. Brandeis, as many people know, is pretty heavily Jewish. When I was there, I think it was about 50%. Now it's closer to about a third, not just because I left, but, just demographics. And I will tell you, I have never seen more uninvolved Jews ever. I don't know if you saw the same thing when you were there, Rabbi Mader, but it was like pulling teeth to get anybody to do anything Jewish. And if I said to them, why aren't you coming to services? Why aren't you doing this? What would my friends say? I'm at Brandeis. It's Jewish enough, right? They took their Judaism for granted. And I have to say that this is what is amazing about many, and I would say the vast majority of interfaith families, especially in this congregation. That by being in an interfaith relationship, you are immediately confronted with religion, and you are not at liberty to take it for granted. And you then have to truly engage. We have an Introduction to Judaism class. This past year was the largest class we had ever had. Over 60 people in this class. Now, some were seekers who had found Judaism on their own. Many, though, were couples where one partner was Jewish, one partner was exploring it. Maybe for conversion, maybe not. It doesn't matter. For them, it was about wanting to learn more and wanting to engage seriously around religion. We also, by the way, have our Taste of Judaism class coming up in just a couple of weeks, so a little plug for that, a wonderful opportunity. These families are truly engaging. There is no apathy, and they are not taking their family's religious journey for granted. Dr. Karen McGinty, an author and national thought leader in interfaith marriage, writes, well, first, I'll have to say, she has a very funny article worth reading, which is McGinty, that's not a Jewish name. She says, if I had 18 cents for every time someone told me, McGinty, that's not a Jewish name, I'd be a wealthy woman. The statement is based on two assumptions, and these are really important. The first, she says, Jews have distinctive Jewish names. This is really important. We need to remember, we can't assume just because someone has a certain name, it means one thing or another. And someone with an ethnically other name couldn't possibly be Jewish. It's just not true, and we all know that now. McGinty, who works for the conservative movement and is their interfaith specialist, also says that, and similar to what I was saying, she says children of interfaith marriage are rethinking what it means to be Jewish in powerful and creative ways because they don't take their Judaism as given. They ask questions about which traditions should be kept and which should be discarded. This is what we do in Reform Judaism. McGinty cautions against believing that demography is destiny and reverting to pessimism. Judaism has a remarkable staying power in the face of threats far greater. Let the past 30 years be a guide, she urges. Despite predictions of Jewry's demise, the reverse has happened. And right now, she says, we are in a renaissance. I will say, from my own experience, One of the biggest reasons for this has been what we often in the past maybe called a non-Jewish spouse. Now we tend to use the term Jewish adjacent family member. And we feel like this is an important term, right? Because they're a part of us. And so I want to just say publicly right now to all of those in our community who are Jewish adjacent, thank you. Thank you. Our community is stronger because of you. The Torah repeatedly reminds us to honor and respect what they called in Hebrew the Ger Toshav, the Jewish adjacent people who dwelled with the ancient Israelites. These were people who chose to settle with our community and travel with us on our journey. They were afforded special rights and recognitions in our communities, even in biblical times. If this was encouraged in the Torah, how much the more so should we continue to offer this recognition to them today? There are so many who marry into Jewish families and commit themselves to create a thriving, nourishing Jewish household. Rabbi Janet Martyr, not to be confused with Maderer, I know people do that sometimes, all the time, another great rabbi in our movement who's out in California. About 20 years ago, actually, she was really before her time, I think, 20 years ago at the high holidays, offered a blessing to all of the Jewish adjacent folks in her community. And I want to end with an excerpt from that blessing because her language is really, it just sums up all my feelings as well. She said, "You are the parents who drive the Hebrew school carpool. You help explain to your kids why it's important to get up on Sunday morning and to learn to be a Jew. You take classes and read Jewish books to deepen your own understanding so you can help to make a Jewish home. You learn to make kugel and latkes. You try to like gefilte fish. You learn to put on a seder. You learn to put up a sukkah. You join your spouse at the Shabbat table. Maybe you even set the Shabbat table and make it beautiful. You come to services, even when it feels strange and confusing at first. You hum along to those Hebrew songs, and some of you even learn to read that difficult language. You stand on the bima and pass the Torah to your children on the day of their B'nai Mitzvah, and you tell them how proud you are and how much you love them, and how glad you are to see them grow into young Jewish adults. May all who wish to find a home in our communities feel welcome here. May they find a greater sense of peace, friendship, family, and wholeness. And may we acknowledge and appreciate all those who add their voices and efforts in creating the future of Jewish life and peoplehood. We are blessed by your presence. Amen. Turn back in our prayer books now as we continue with Aleinu on pages 282, followed by 287. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהונות השמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום
Please be seated. Yesh kochavim. There are stars up above. So far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes the yahrzeit for the following people on whose shoulders we stand: Jack Abramson, Martin M. Alsher, Joan Toll Angelchik, Samuel Aaron, Rose E. Blumar, Leon Blumberg, A.P. Carlton, Sidney Chertok, Robert Clark, Jacqueline Cohen, Louis Deaton, Clinton Edelman, Josiah Howard Edelson, Lillian Einheber, Josephine Enilo, Saul Feld, Lee Weiss Frank, Ephraim J. Frankel, Diane S. Friedman, Barnett Friedman, Frances Ann Friesman, Edward S. Goldberg, Evelyn Goldberg, Anna Marymore Goldston, Herman Gorin, Sadie Koch Grinsfelder, Alan Gross, Martin Grupp, Raymond Gubernick, Gertrude Handel, Lisa Hanan, Yona Henschel, Thomas Hershkovitz, Lester Israel, Norman J. Kalsheim, Grace Kaplan, Asher Samuel Katz, Charles Kaiser, Marjorie Asher Kind, Isidore Cohn, Jacob M. Korn, David V. Krumholz, Mary Lane, Leonard A. Levine Sr., Joseph Levinson, Philip Leto, Arnold Lowe, Arthur Macedon, Rose E. Mann, Samuel Marin Efron, Brian Shane Marks, Franklin B. Mayer, Nelson B. Mayer, Stanley Nelson Mitnick, Mary Mogul, Elaine Nader, Anna Zeitlin-Netsky, Harry Nugiel, Norma Pinkinson, Benjamin Price, Gertrude Pays Richmond, Michael J. Rosenberg, Max Rosenbluth, Joseph M. Selesky, Mayor Seidenbach, Herbert Silverman, Joseph E. Simon, David Mann Sklaroff, Evan Smith, Dora P. Sprafkin, Alice Stanley Catone, Seymour Stiffman, Ernest Strauss, Rosa Strauss, Fanny Teller, Oscar B. Teller, Julius H. Tolson, Lena S. Tolson, Abraham Topkis, Teresa Vogel, Gordon Weinberg, Alfred Edwin Weiss, Albert J. Weil, Alvin Weisenberg, Benjamin Waldo, Milton Tuck Wolf, Clara Wolf, Rose H. Wolf, Claire Blank Wolkoff, Lester Zackheim. And we add the names of those who've been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts in these most recent days, for whom we're observing Shloshim, the 30 days of mourning. Benita Cohen, Sonia C. Garfinkel, William Schwartzman, and this week, our congregation will be burying Laureen Miller. If you are observing Yahrzeit or Shiloshim or remembering a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to speak their names aloud at this time or to write them in the chat. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We turn to page 294 and rise for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach herutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayei chon of yomei chon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And let us say, Amen.
Oh, say shalom bimromav, uya say shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
welcome forward now Jerry Arnold.
Let's see. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And Shabbat Shalom to those watching us at home. Are you extended family members, future in-laws, neighbors, or friends curious to learn about the foundations of Judaism? A Taste of Judaism explores Jewish perspectives on spirituality, values, and community, and is led by our faculty, RS clergy. Excuse me. See our program for more information. All right, if you are new to Rodeh Shalom, a special welcome to you. Welcome. Please meet our congregant, Lynn Edelman, who is waving in the back at the sanctuary to learn more about the following service. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Conclude in blessing.
Adonai v'yishmerecha, Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon us, and may God be gracious to us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha
Shalom. May we feel God's presence within us always, and may we find peace. Ken Yiratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.